Hitting to go live. There we go.
So you're live, you say, or we're live, you say.
I do say.
Well, that's what you're telling us, really.
Yeah, does that we're live? People can see us and hear us now.
Except I pressed a button and now they're seeing grey. But hold on.
Well, they can still hear us, I'm sure.
Come on. It's doing a GPU thing. Come on. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. That's weird, even under it. That's weird. Hello, Stuart.
Hello.
Howdly doodly do.
Howdly doodly doodly do. To you too.
Okay.
So this is the 50 Shades of Grey Trekyards episode.
Yeah.
I see grey. Oh, there we go.
We've already done the 50 Shades of shit, which is obviously
the 50 Shades of Stupid.
Which is obviously the Shades of Grey, which was bad, as you can recall, guys. But we did it. We did it. Although, you know, when you only watch the new bits, it's a much better episode, which is what I did, if you recall.
Yep.
Much better that way. Ugh. It's not how you meant to watch it, but it's all like stomach. Hi, Stuart. How are you today?
I am good. How are you today?
I am better than I was yesterday. So that's good.
That's a good thing.
But the real question is, how is everyone else?
Yes. How are you all doing out there in television land? YouTube land?
Hopefully pretty well. Okay, and then let's do that. 1, 3, 8. Okay. Now, am I on the... Do I have a thing? I don't have a thing. Okay. This one.
Yes.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Hi guys. What is it? It's Tuesday today? Wednesday? Tuesday?
It is Tuesday. Yes, it is.
And you're more awake now?
Yes and no. Didn't get to sleep till like 5:30 this morning.
And I got and if I worked on a normal UK schedule, I got a message from at 9:30. So it's like I could be awake right now, starting my working day where you're just going to bed. But luckily, I sleep late and you sleep late, which equals out somehow. I don't know.
Oh well, it works out. It's all good. So, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys are all well. Today we are here to talk about an episode, season 4, episode 24.
Oh my goodness.
The Mind's Eye.
Almost the end of the season. Wow.
I think there's 2 more.
Goodness. Definitely over halfway at that point. Wow. That's sad.
Got In Theory and Redemption Part 1.
So it's been a hell of a run looking at TNGs. It's been good to relive and and then I don't know how I would do this, but I'm sure I've kept the score somewhere. Maybe I should do at the end, put the time in and work out what are our top episodes of all time.
Oh, TNG. Ooh.
Because that's why it's important to have of all the series as well, because then you've got 2 numbers to base it on. You know, if one's slightly higher, then you've got that metric.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can just I start off by control finding all the 10s and all the 9s, and like you're not gonna have anything as 8s, so should be doable. Just weird. And then it'll be Stuart's joint second is this, and his 10th is. It's like you have number 1, number 10, and joint 8.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is. But why don't I start sharing, as I hope for people start to filter in.
Sebastian has a question for you though before you do.
Oh.
Samuel,
hello.
When are you guys going to do DS9?
Some point soon, maybe. Or not. Does that answer your question?
That's a great answer.
Thank you. Or is it?
No.
But it might be though.
Sure.
Well, we had to finish off this either way, so we're not we're according to plan currently.
Yes.
But
soon is the answer.
Yeah, we will see.
My answer is always stay tuned.
6
years now I've been saying stay tuned for certain things.
For your TMP refit build. I'm still waiting.
Oh.
We're all still waiting.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
Well,
That's harsh. It's right here. There's part of it here.
yeah, how done is it?
Part of it over there.
Why don't you give us an official update? Because how done is it?
All the sub-assemblies are done except for the secondary hull, which needs to be black or light blocked. But everything else is light blocked and ready for exterior hull painting. So it's a matter of just throwing it all together and getting the lights in there and making sure there's no light leaks and shit like that, which is the hardest part. And then painting and the hardest part on that is painting the hull with all the Aztecing and all the different colors. So that's going to be a bit of a bitch, and I want to make sure I do it right. So,
I'm sure it's one of those things that you're going to feel the pressure to do that the best, and probably the hardest to undo or to redo. Or
that's why I never wanted to build this damn thing, but then Noah gave it to me and said, "Here, build this."
Well,
you bastard.
Could you not potentially, since you've done most of the work, get a fan or such to do the painting, like a professional painter? Because if that's the next big thing, perhaps that might be easier if you've done some of the hard work.
But then it's not my build now, is it?
But that's maybe you said you didn't want to do it, so I don't know if you've resound yourself to actually doing it or not.
Yeah, I will eventually.
Okay. On our 10th anniversary, you can show it half done.
There you go. That gives me 4 years. That's
don't
maybe enough time.
Only 4. Goodness.
Anyway, we got some super chats, but go share this first, and then we'll read those super chats.
Oh yes, Cinnamon.
Yeah. So as you guys, it's not. Just don't talk to yourself. It's fine. You sound exactly the same. Yes, you sound exactly the same. It's a good microphone, and you sound exactly the same. You can't hear me, but that's okay. Anyway, guys, as you saw, the super chats are a great way to help out the channel, get your comment read, your voice heard, your question answered. Just go ahead and do that if you can. It supports the channel and helps us out, and we really appreciate it. Plus, we will read it out and call you out. So other way to get noticed is to join the channel. There's a join button beside the subscribe button, so join at the rank of Commander, Captain, Admiral, Fleet Admiral, or Federation President, and that is another way to help us out on a monthly basis, which you can also do over on Patreon at patreon.com/Trekyards. Just go over there and make sure that you subscribe and help us again on a monthly basis, as I said. Other ways to help us out and yourself out is click the links down below. There's links to Teespring store, there's links to Eagle Moss, there's discount codes, there's stuff like that. So check all those out and make sure that you're using those to your full advantage, because we want to help you out as much as we can. And so and going back to joining the channel, you get the badge beside your name, shows just how long you've been there, a member. Some people have already got their 1 year badges because we've been doing this for a year, and that is awesome. It's made a huge difference. So plus your name gets highlighted, and you get to like I said, a badge beside your name. You get the little emojis and the stickers for the live chats, which if you join these on a regular basis, which a lot of you do, it's a great way to participate and show your love. So anyway, yes. Oh my God, look behind you, Geordi. Yeah, so once he gets back, I'll read the super chats we do have, and then we will get into talking about the Mind's Eye. A very interesting episode, to say the least. So now we should all just sit here and stare at Samuel. He can't hear what I'm saying. So there. So I just make it look like I'm talking. I'm usually pretty good at talking about things. Oh, here he comes. He's getting it off the floor. All right. So, yes. So that's a great way to help us out. So that's a great way to help out your favorite channel. If you can, please do so. I'm not saying that we're your favorite channel, but we're your favorite channel. And you know it. And Samuel.
Yes. Hello.
You put that microphone on the floor, and you sounded exactly the same. No difference. No difference in volume. Everything was perfect.
Now,
it was like.
Is that loud? Or is?
You're on your webcam. That's why.
That's why. Sound like it's all over there now.
Well, these aren't good mics. They're good for picking up a lot of room.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Obviously, I can't hear it. Okay. Let's set to the right one.
I don't know. You tap your Yeti and you got nothing, though.
Okay, I'll just change it to the other one, so...
No, it's still the webcam. Yes.
Oh, wait, no, you're on different to the...
I'm on the Skype.
You're on the Skype, so... Yeah, that's hearing that. Okay, so you're just on the wrong one for some reason. Which is weird. Which never happens as well.
Anyway, you're back. We got super chats. I'm going to read those super chats. Here we go. James McGill, $2.
There you go. Now it should be crystal clear and beautiful.
Well, you're crystal clear, I guess. There you go. That's better. James McGill, $2.
Thanks,
in all of Star Trek, how many times has LaForge been captured? A few. We even got captured by the Packlids. With the Packlids, but this time we got Generations. There's probably been more.
That's true. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
But he normally gets captured in style, though.
Yes, absolutely. Eugene, 1,000 rubles.
Yeah.
A very memorable scene with Geordi and the Trekyards. The rest of the episode is less so. So at least Picard swears well. In conclusion, a nice mix of intrigue, politics, sci-fi, and action. An 8.5 out of 10. Dun dun dun. That's a good summation.
Yes. Yes.
Now, did you remember this episode?
Yeah, absolutely. I went and think it's one of my guilty pleasure ones. I didn't know if that was a justified guilty pleasure or it was just a really good episode. So I didn't want to necessarily go with, oh, it's brilliant. I was like, this is one I always like. Do I still like it? I don't know. We haven't gone into that bit yet. But guys, click like. I would love to see lots of people joining this one because, especially as a Trekyards group, this has Romulans and Klingons and ships. So lots of makeup, lots of like this has all the stuff the Trekyards audience would surely like. So hopefully we'll get a lot of people for this one because it is, you would think, a more Trekyardsian one first. What does that mean? You want me to go first then, or you want to go first?
Yeah, I might as well go first. Unless you don't want to, I will gladly go first if you want me to.
Well, why don't I say my basic one line answer, and then you can see your thing, and then we'll swap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. You'll go.
I also think it's excellent. Should I just go into my thing now?
Yes.
Okay, fine. This is one I remember bits and pieces of, but I didn't remember as a cohesive whole. And really was surprised by some of the visuals in it, especially with Geordi's visor and stuff. I forgot those were there. And the whole O'Brien thing, the test for O'Brien, even with the spilling the drink, completely forgot about all that. So it was quite enjoyable to watch this one again. That first little bit, though, in the shuttlecraft, 3 hours to rise up from where he is there. And then, I was wondering where do they go to the washroom when they're in the shuttle. But, it is what it is.
You can hold it for 3 hours. Unless he really drinks those.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like we've talked before about beaming it right out of your bladder or whatever. But anyway, seeing a Trekyards was a very memorable moment, and that's what I remember the most. I kind of forgot the whole thing about I remember like 1/3 of the way into it about the Klingon being the Klingon ambassador guy being a bad guy. But yeah, on a first watch through, the way they present it is like, who's going to get killed? The ambassador, Picard? Who's he gunning for? And it's actually pretty well done in that regard. So it's very much the Manchurian Candidate of Star Trek, and I think that's a really cool. And the way it kind of gets unraveled as well. I think it's a well put together episode, and quite enjoyable. Very intriguey. That's a word.
It is now.
But it ties in with the whole Romulan Klingon feud thing, and it does it quite well. So, yeah, enjoyed it.
I'm pretty much the opposite though in terms of what I remembered. I remembered everything with Geordi, and this is me not necessarily remembering all the stuff, but I forgot most of the subtleties with the Klingon stuff. As in everything with the Governor, pretty much I completely blanked on. While still memorable, like they're the same scenes we've seen a billion times with Klingons, so I guess they didn't stick in my brain. But yeah, the beginning, the end, the middle, the shooting, Brian, I remember I could have easily given you, I'm sure I did, when we did our What's in the Season. I'm sure this one well, obviously, if you didn't remember as much, I'm sure this one I absolutely won and gave a full description. It's always stuck out for me, just for every reason. I don't know, it always. But these things I noticed more this time is how good the ambassador is. And you can, if you know he's a bit dodgy, not to stereotype, but Klingons are a certain way. The fact that he's different tells you something. I think he plays it a bit odd because he's a Romulan collaborator, blah blah blah. And I definitely liked a lot more this time around. I loved seeing Geordi and picking up the fact that LeVar was not playing it as double agenty. He was both in whichever scene. So when he's dealing with Data and everyone else, he is fully sincere, and he feels fully sincere because he is. But the other half of his brain is trying to do the other thing, and that I thought was a really fun thing to see because he's still mystery solving, and so the other version of him that has to be the Manchurian Candidate has to outthink both the entire team and him, and he can't quite outthink himself, which is great to see how because he's better than he thinks to get that's really fun scenes, and when it would have been disappointing I think if he'd been consciously aware of it. It also shows how bad the programming is, that it doesn't do a mental block. You would think they'd be programmed in to not see your own patterns. It might give you away, obviously, but it was fun to see him play both halves of the coin. Was really fun.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I noticed too about this time around, the ambassador Klingon guy has the same ambassador uniform or outfit as the guy in Star Trek 4.
That makes sense.
So, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the actor's back again in something else as well. I recognise the actor, and obviously Silic from Enterprise is in it, playing a brilliantly sinister.
Yes.
Romulan. But actually sincere. I love when he says I apologise because he's fully sincere. He's like, I gotta cause you pain. Sorry.
And Sela, in the shadows,
Boy.
You got the voice. I forgot about that completely.
Well, I've never known that ever, because you really can't tell unless you know it's Denise. You wouldn't say, "Oh, it's Denise Crosby," because why would you think it was Denise Crosby?
But you can hear the voice though.
But once you know, there's no context until you know that you'd think it was Denise Crosby. It's definitely you go back and look at it for a second time. Now I remembered this going in because we talked about this in a previous episode. She's uncredited in this episode, just as voice. I'm like, oh yeah. Although boy, the Blu-ray, the way the black levels are, you can tell a woman's not Sela easily.
Oh really?
Yeah. But okay, fine if it's too black, but her first line is well out of sync, and she's not remotely looking like the other ones are better in sync. But it's obviously they didn't have her on set yet. But I just would have really had her black. But you can visibly tell the actress is not remotely her. But now this is the first time I've ever known that was Sela. So I was like, oh, cool. Never knew that before. Ever. It's not obvious.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice lead in to the character.
But since we're only 2 episodes away from that, it's a very brief lead in. It's we'll see you in 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also like how clearly Majel Roddenberry has a ton of stuff for this episode, because obviously she was just in the episode last week, so they had her on set and said, you're on the lot. You know what I mean? We don't have to get you in for one line. Let's have you film a ton. Awesome. Which felt great because it was a very nice dynamic. Oh, and one more thing I noticed as well. And I'll finally direct this later. This is one of the few episodes where every single character has a role, has a good role, has an in-character role. That is few and far between. Everyone is in this week. Everyone does something good. Riker's the least, but he's still Mr. Commanding, whatever. Every single character. And it works fucking amazing. And considering O'Brien gets a part as well, they have, and also the ambassador, and also the this is an incredibly dense cast episode, and they do everyone justice. The one they don't have is Nurse Ogawa, but she's not even established at this point. That's really, really well balanced, and I wish more did this rather than just saying, oh yeah, Deanna was in this one, and I was in this one, I wasn't in this one. Shows it can be done because it was very, very good.
I totally agree, actually, and now I didn't think of that at the time, but now I'm mulling it over and I'm like, yeah, you're right, they all did have a good part.
Yeah, and we even had we've talked about how someone says Picard doesn't feel like Picard, or anyone could be Frakes. No, everyone feels in character. Everyone.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, Vince Envisions puts in $5. Nice to see Texas back in shape. Tuning in while I work. P.S. That Klingon uniform was in Star Trek 6-2. Also, Sam, I sent renders.
Yeah, I don't tend to check Skype unless I'm filming with Stuart, and we haven't filmed for a few days, so... yeah. Cool, I will have a look. Yeah, how's Texas doing? I don't keep track of Texas, is it?
I don't know either. They're still there, I guess, which is good.
They didn't get snowed off the face of the earth. That's good. That's
no. Welcome to a regular Tuesday in Canada.
Yeah. But it's all perspective, isn't it? You know, it's all perspective. Yeah. It's like, you know, you put, I mean, you know, snow in LA, everyone's going to be like, oh my God. And snow here is like, yeah, it's snowing. That's cool. And snow for you is like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Squadra Course, $2. Good episode. Dark, but still Trek. Gotta run for a bit. All right, we'll see you later, Squadra Course.
Now, what do you think about Dark? Because I don't know if I agree with that on the face of it.
I don't think it's dark. It's very political intrigue, which I like.
Yep.
It was very well crafted and very well woven together. But I wouldn't say dark necessarily. We do see O'Brien get killed. I mean, that's, you know, but it's not gruesome really. It's just the way he kind of brushes it off and goes and has a drink is kind of, I guess, the darkest element to the whole thing.
It's appropriately comical and yet treated seriously. The balance in this episode is so on point. It's really, really on point. And I like that it being dark, but it manages not to be, because it's so clinical and sci-fi, and like you understand everything that's happening and every way it's happening, you know? Like it's very grounded, and so it's more just like, this is what's happening, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. And this one actually starts really interestingly. We've had, over the past few weeks, we've had the Chief Medical Officer's log. We've had the Deanna Troy's Counselor's log. Each episode.
My mother is here. Red alert.
Yeah. This one starts with the Chief Engineer's personal log, which I think is great. And then after the opening title sequence, you get the Captain's log. I think that's awesome, and that's one of the things that has really been missing from Star Trek, new Trek, is the Captain's log intros, or the whatever character logs, essentially.
Well, how much did that add to the Beyond, having that great Kirk Captain's log? One of the better scenes of the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a good way to fill out the episode and have it feel like you've watched more than you actually have, because you get a lot of backstory. I think that's one of the reasons that New Trek kind of feels hollow sometimes. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
And lots of people saying hi to both of us. So hi guys, good to see you all.
Hi everybody.
Hi Dr. Stuart.
We love you.
I love you.
Vincent Visions, $5. We're fine. Texas isn't built for extreme winter. We were minutes away from a total statewide power grid blackout. It pummeled a lot. Stressful week. Damn.
Now, I wonder if it's just like 1 inch of snow, and it's like, wow, that's not a lot of snow.
I saw footage of them driving, sliding into each other, and I'm just watching it going. I'm looking at my street going, holy shit, there's snow like this deep on my street, but okay, I'm just gonna watch you guys slide into each other. Sorry.
Yeah, but I've heard people from Texas like, you know, it's like in LA when we went there. It's like you just don't pack a jacket. Like, doesn't matter if you're going to walk at 4 a.m. in the morning in winter, you're not going to pack a jacket. It's fine. This is why in films, from our, and I'm sure your context too, in films, if you see homeless people in winter and they're fine, as in temperature-wise, for us, both of us would be like, well, they can't survive in the winter out. But America's like, yeah, I mean, it's 4 a.m., it's fine. T-shirt weather. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's weird contextually for us.
Yeah, anyway, he is en route in a Type 15 shuttlecraft, which is one of the small ones, to attend an artificial intelligence seminar on Risa. And he got ordered by the captain to go early so he can take some time off.
Lovely.
So he does.
Lovely.
Yeah. So he does his typical, this is how I talk to the computer. No, computer. No. Oh, no. It's like, it's kind of his own thing, and it's appropriate, but at the same time, it's like very much like, I can't believe you can talk this good to a computer, but not to people. It's just part of his character. I think it's great.
Yeah. And this is a weird pod in general. I don't think it ever quite worked ever. I think it works better here, although, boy, it's real small. But the fact that he can relax, you've never seen that before. Although his desk chair does look like a desk chair. and something about his set, like the way the stars is, it does just look like a little tiny set, and the guy's a bit like it doesn't look or feel like a spaceship as much as the other shuttles, especially. It feels more like a set, although it does well. Just it doesn't. It feels so limited. But I love the gentle context here. It's very unusual.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, though, why they would be using this shuttle, Type 15, for this. Type 15 seems to me as a shuttle you go from ship to shore, like ship to the planet. When Data went down and destroyed the aqueduct thing, like, yeah, perfect. You're going straight down. You don't need... He needs a bigger shuttle here.
Well, it's a shuttle pod. Like, it's the smallest thing they have. And obviously, the obvious thing asserts itself. If he's 3 hours away at Impulse, that means he's been in the solar system for a long time. Why did the Enterprise D warp to the Riser system, drop him off at least, say, 6 hours away, and then just... It would have taken seconds to get him right to the planet. Why did they drop him off? Or has he been trying for 3 days, and if they're trying 3 days, 3 hours wouldn't seem a long time? Why?
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with me. I don't know how long they don't say how long he's been traveling. And again, if it's been like days, like where's the washroom? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? No.
And even days, it would take seconds at Enterprise D speed. Like, if you're that close to Risa, just take him to Risa. For God's sake. And you can't even say he's at warp, because you see him. He's not at warp, and then they cut to Enterprise D at warp. So they're making a visual distinction of warp, not warp. So you can't even, you know. But then it also means that 3 hours away means that the Deredex was in scanning range of Risa. Like, that ship is deep in Federation fucking space. That is right here. That managed to get all the way through neutral zone. When we talk about the neutral zones, a thing you can't cross, they are right in our space. Are you kidding? Like, that should be a thing of war, really.
It's a very good point, actually. I mean, you start to break it down, the distances and all that. It's like, a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. It's just story-wise. But...
Like, it's fine if it's a warp shuttle, but it isn't a warp shuttle.
Yeah.
Like, or have it at warp. Like, I'm sure the visual effect wouldn't be that much harder to put the warp stars. I mean, do it in the next scene. It just confuses me, you know? It doesn't work. It's like this should be a runabout and it should be at warp, then you're fine. Because then 3 hours at warp is quite a long way. So, you know, it does, you know, like I say, Romulans really were ballsy to go this far into Federation space to grab him. And obviously never answered how they knew he was grabbed. Like, how they knew where he was and where he was going.
True enough.
Because they do actually have a spy in the ranks, and they can get data. Although, unless he was travelling for, like, 21 days, because of course he's travelling 21 days. Boy, can you imagine, you're going 3 days early, so it's 3 more days to travel. It's like, have 3 days off! But we're gonna fly 3 days further away, so you get 3 more days of the shuttle. What a dick move, Picard. What a dick move.
Well, yes. Anyway, we got a decloaking to Deredex behind him. I love how he sets his drink down. Like, if he has to do any evasive maneuvers, that drink's flying. But that's okay. Anyway, yeah, he basically gets captured by a Romulan warbird, and we see them tractor on, and it's like dun dun dun. And he actually calls Risa control, so he is close enough to Risa, but then he gets beamed off. So, a very, very good intro for an episode for sure.
And the Deredex looks brilliant. A bit overlit, but looks brilliant. And I like the fact that it says shields down. Like, yeah, of course his shields aren't going to last even 1 second. You're the weakest possible ship on the Deredex. Although it's weird that for some reason they use the Romulan, the Borg beaming effect and sound effect to beam him out. Not sure why.
Yeah.
The Klingons fine at the end, but they use the Borg effect for some reason. I guess Nero's tech did find their way into our timeline. Don't know if you caught that or not, but it's all Borg.
I noticed it looked familiar and didn't look quite right, but it was green.
Oh yeah,
Romulans are green.
Yeah, the VFX team got confused because they're both green.
Oh well. Anyway, then we get our captain's log where they talk about they're escorting a special emissary of the High Council to the Corrosian system, where there's a colony out there fighting for its independence, and they're, you know, something's going to happen. It's important. I like how the guy's like, there's a time when we would just crush a rebellion. Now it's tolerated.
Beautiful dialogue here. Very, very knowing of how the Trek universe works.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
And even the whole line of, well, you're preparing to grant them independence. Well, perhaps we can conquer them again later if we wish. It's like, damn.
Super
Holding on to
clever.
that clinginess. He's clinging on to the Klingon.
Yes. Now, this is where I had a point of clarification. I'm sure I know the answer, but it seems odd to me. It's a Klingon colony with the Klingon governor, but are they not Klingons on the colony? Because if they're Klingons on the colony, then Independence should be, like, would there be Klingons literally living there? Or is it, because they say conquer it, do you have to conquer fellow Klingons on a colony? Or is it another race, because they have lots of other races in the Empire? Like, you don't see the colony ever, but would they be, like, are they independent Klingons?
I think it's like Organia in TOS, where the Klingons wanted to take control of it and take control of the population. It's kind of like the slave race thing. Like in Starfleet battles, they use slaves a lot. So kind of like that, I think. And they're fighting for their independence against the ruling Klingons, which doesn't really make a lot of sense when you considering that they're allies of the Federation now. The Federation be like, hello, I don't think we're going to tolerate that.
But you know what I mean? It seems a bit odd they don't ever address if they're actually Klingons or not, because that does surely change the equation.
Yeah.
And you kind of assume they are until you realize, well, they're probably not, are they? Otherwise, they wouldn't be conquered. Doesn't quite have the same cadence.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. And the guy even asked, like, why? Picard asked, why do you want the Federation there? Well, because there's
accusations.
The governor thinks that the Federation's aiding the rebels. We're going to go examine the evidence. So I thought, what better than you guys to come with me?
I love the line. He's like, I was going to go by myself, but I got this going. I hadn't reached out. Obviously, you know why later on. It feels so nice and, oh, yeah, good guy, because you are respected, man. But actually, it's like, because I'm going to manipulate the hell out of you, man. But it's great context for sure. And I love the guy's makeup. The fact that he has like these weird side bulges and just, it's an unusual sort of makeup choice, and I like it. It's more unique than a lot of the other Klingons.
Yeah.
And that's clearly a real beard, which is rare for Klingons. They normally have like it's actually clearly real facial hair, which is nice. Yeah. More rustic.
Yeah, Picard says, well, work with Worf. And she's like, oh, this commendation. I don't want to work with Worf. He's like, no, he's head of security. He's the guy you need to talk to. He's also my tactical specialist. So,
but it would be awkward, Stuart. It'd be awkward.
Who cares? You know what?
Yeah. But at least it's been brought up again, because obviously in a couple of episodes it'll be irrelevant. So it's good that at least reassert it, in case people had forgotten.
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't really think he's like even meant to talk to Worf, like, as part of it. You're not meant to even acknowledge his existence. So,
yeah,
orcs.
He's been shunned.
But at least they express it and they understand their own canon.
Yes. Well, then we get a nice shot of the tractor beam holding the shuttle and Geordi coming in.
Although, boy, the scale of that shot. Think about how high that derricks must actually be above that shuttle pod.
I was going to say the shuttle's very close to the camera.
Because the scale feels fine, but you realize that's like miles away for that to make sense.
It's miles in space isn't that far, so it's fine.
Yeah. But it's a good looking shot, though.
Yeah. But they put him in the chair. They strap him in. You see a lady and
Silic. Romulan Silic.
Dude. Yeah. And yeah, you're going to help us. And I love how he's like uses Geordi's stunt double as like a, hey,
I was assuming it was, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is.
It'd have to be.
Go enjoy yourself on Ryza.
But not too much.
Yeah, and I thought did they clone Geordi for a second there? It like really looked like him until he turned.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unfortunately, all I could think was porn parody, Geordi.
Oh my god, yes.
But what a brilliant visual is him in the chair. Like, talk about you didn't know it was going to work until you got everyone together with the purple and the eyes. Like, it's a really bad, good visual. Oi.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I thought he takes his visor and says, I got to show you something. Well, that'll be a trick.
Yeah.
So I can't see. But yeah, they neuralize them up. They attach the neuralizer thingies.
Although, in fact, this also speaks to their extreme surveillance network and knowledge, because he says you can't do it, and they do it instantly. Which also means they've planned, they've tested, they've prepped, they're ready. There's a special thing to do. So how do they get full data on how his implant works? Because they're Romulans. Of course,
exactly.
But it's good though. I love that they don't skip a beat. You know, they're going through a simple, easy plan. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Not a problem.
But they show him good stuff. It's a nice spring day on Earth, and then they show him like tortures and they or atrocities, and they switch it because he was getting used to them. So that's pretty awful, actually. And yeah, you can tell it's not Sela, even with the.
Yeah, it's actually much darker in this version. But in the Blu-ray, it's got more color data. And actually, in fact, even the shoulders aren't as broad as they should be.
No.
Like, honestly, I would have thought this would also be a better... If this had been Sela, like, legitimately Denise Crosby, and you not even make mention of it, I think this would be... I know she has a reveal in, like, 3 episodes, but I think this, walking out the end of the scene, would be like, what? I think this would have been stronger, actually. Because it's so random, you know?
Yeah.
But, here's her voice, and she gets 2 lines, and, again, they you know... It's her if you know it's her, it's not if you don't know it's her. Because why would you think it was Denise Crosby? You wouldn't.
And they end with Geordi screaming. Ah, it's great.
Yeah.
Area 51, $5. Geordi, wait, this stuff is only supposed to happen to O'Brien. Don't worry. O'Brien will get his comeuppance in this episode. It's fine.
Yes. It's, like I say, really, really good visual here. And was this the same thing that Riker was in? Is this the same room, the same set dressing? Because it's a pretty decent little set here. I'm trying to remember.
From Riker when?
When Future Imperfect, the fake Romulan stuff.
Oh. I don't know. If it is, it's lit a lot differently, and it looks a lot more imposing here. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. Dramatic.
Oh, and then we get to the Worf and the ambassador scene where he's basically like, so, you know, if your captain's working with the rebels, and Worf's like, how dare you insult me? You think that I have no honor, so you know, I'm sorry for asking. Like, it plays off really. And then he goes on to say, you know, there are a lot of people in the High Council which owe you a favor because, you know, Duras was likely going to get that position, and you acted like a Klingon that day. So,
yes, vicious revenge, always good.
Kind of a slap in the face first, and then a compliment. So it's,
yeah. Well, he's playing to the is he genuinely a traitor, and then it plays to, well, you know what, I'll try. So I'm kind of surprised he doesn't. I know there's obviously it's quite a packed episode, but he never tries to like coerce him or strategize with him, or never tries to get him on side. You would think he may try.
And I just realized now, like, he's working with the Romulans, so was Duras. So is he actually like secretly pissed at Worf for having killed Duras? Like, was he working with Duras and something else? That's actually
so.
Yeah, and I never really considered that till just now, actually looking at the conversation.
And we only killed Duras a year ago, max. So yeah. And you don't just get embedded Romulans. You have a plan. You have some real thoughts about it. So yeah. But it's a well played scene, and there's a lot of good little scenes that all add to the chemistry. But as I said earlier, we know redemption's coming, and so to put this back in our minds is real important, even if it feels kind of not out of place. But oh yeah, we're talking about this again because it's going to be important really soon.
Yeah. Then we get the 10 forward scene, and this is actually kind of cool. Who's that sitting over there? I love this first time you get to see his like visor look. You see little lines come in, and the one that comes down in the middle, I think that's the E-band one because the way it's presented. But who knows, honestly. Romulan text as well.
I think they were trying to go for a distinct, recognizable pattern, but I think it's the editor didn't continue the vibe. Because it feels inconsistent. There's no like dedicated comes down. That's now the target. It shifts throughout the episode, so I don't think they ever quite. Yeah. I love the idea of this scene, and it's so well played, and it's really, I literally said out loud during the screening. It's like, oh, the Romulans get to be on the normal set, because like aliens never get to visit the main stuff because they're always on their own ship. So it's like, oh, cool, we get to have them. That's good.
And this 3 Romulans there. The guy in the middle is quite freaky. He's got quite a look to him, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's like, I was in TNG playing what? Romulan, did you speak? No.
But I looked freaky.
But I had screen presence.
So Geordi hesitates and then basically blows Brian away, and then goes and has a nice little drink with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's, can I join you guys? And the guy's like, oh, might as well, because he's dead now. It's just kind of like a, hey.
It's a super memorable scene, because of course you don't generally murder characters in 10 Forward, so it's very memorable. It always stands out as just a chill context. I love the subtle positive reinforcement to him, the fact that he killed an officer, but no one thinks anything of it, which tells his brain, it's fine. Like it's a clever scene, and I also note that when the Romulan science guy, he doesn't order him, he requests. He he asks him to kill him. He doesn't tell him, doesn't order him. Little contextual things. If it isn't the same sort of aggressive stance, it's more manipulation. It's more, well, you want to do this, you want to kill your friend, and it's like, yeah, I do, yeah. It's interesting. It's a good play.
Yeah. And then the shot of him taking a drink, and then pan down to O'Brien with his eyes open. And he's wearing his wrong pips. Maybe that's why he got killed.
Well, they didn't correct information. It's a Romulan holodeck, after all.
It's true. That's true.
Oh, Mr. Meany, first on-screen death. He has a few.
O'Brien must suffer.
Yes.
But then they picked up Geordi, I guess.
No. He picked up. He finds a transport that gives him passage. They say that.
Yes,
I do not think Rise was in the same location as a Klingon colony. Sorry, because I had to cross the border, etc. So yeah, they were able to get passage.
Yeah, there's a you return on a Tildarian cruiser. Yes.
Area 51. Yes, 10 Forward is known for its lack of murder. Yes.
Generally speaking, yes. But a nice walk and talk here with Data and Geordi, and the whole joke about, I could have been forced to stay on Ryza. Forced to stay on Ryza. I was joking. Anyway, nice little moment, and Geordi really plays it out. Like, he seems happy, he seems rested, he seems like he's just back from vacation. Even later when he's talking to Deanna, that really comes through. So
what I like about this is that he's playing extra friendly good guy Geordi, while he's currently a brainwashed assassin. He's his most happy and most Geordi where he's an assassin. Like, the fact that, you know what I mean, you don't tend to give these characters that much character dialogue that is irrelevant, but it gives you a sense of characterization. If we can see this as how he is really, it's brilliant to see. It's just amazing it's in this sort of context. And a lovely little scene. Yeah, it really shows their good chemistry, and no, it's a great scene.
Yeah. And he goes up to the bridge, and I love how they try to play with our expectations, like who's going to get assassinated. They show Picard in Geordi vision, and he looks over to Commander Riker, and then he looks at the ambassador guy.
So I think we're all thinking it's going to be a Klingon. Obviously, that makes sense. That's the first assumption, because he obviously stands out a bit.
Yeah. But they ask him for help with the evidence that they're going to be presenting. They need him to look at it, and him and Troy take off.
Or he says, I'll be happy to help. I'm thinking, dude, it's your job. You're not being asked to help. You've been brought back to do your job. Don't be like, oh yeah, happy to help. Because like, yes, you are. Good, do it now. Get to work. It's your job. Just like, but it shows how we're happy. Like, he's back to work. Yeah, I'm feeling energized. It's just a funny line because it's not right, but it's funny.
Yeah.
And then Deanna's "you got laid" vision.
Yeah. Well, that conversation happens in a second.
Yeah, but she can tell right now. She can tell. He's confident. He's not normally this confident.
But then we get the ambassador and Picard are going to go beam down to the planet, and then Data's like, "Hey, we got an E-band emission thing," and for once, Riker doesn't play an idiot. He's like, "What's the source?"
Yeah.
Unknown, sir. And then Riker says, "E-band emissions usually collapse protostars, sometimes emit E-band bursts." So thank you, Riker. Usually Riker is the audience, surrogate. Like, duh, what? So I'm glad they did that.
And it starts out how you expect. He's like, those are super rare, aren't they? Which is a generic, not knowing term. And then he throws in, but it could be this. So yeah, they kind of play both sides of that. No, everyone is well served this week. Everyone. It's really unusual, actually.
It's refreshing though.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. Not a bad account, $2. Geordi could be more suspicious if women liked him. Well,
yeah,
he's got the confidence of an assassin. He's gonna go in there and slay that.
What?
P word. What? No, I'm not gonna go there. Yeah.
Slay that putrid Klingon. There you go.
Yes.
That's what he's going for.
Captain Chili Bean, $10.
Oh, there you go.
I can't stay, but just
no.
popped in to try bribing Sam into starting DS9 reviews soon.
Oh.
Pretty please. Love you guys. Live long and prosper. Love you too. Live long and prosper.
We've only got like 2 more of these, and then we got to do our retrospective, which to be fair might mean we do 2 drunks in a row because we've got drunk normal and drunk retrospective. Oi.
Unless we do 2 episode reviews tomorrow and Thursday, and then we're done. We can do the one on the weekend, be the retrospective.
Oi. Dunno, we haven't talked about that yet.
No, we haven't.
Soon, but we will. Although it's still a little bit weird though, because we haven't got the Bajoran stuff yet, which is soon, but like it's all, you know, it's weird to jump straight to the show before we have it all set up.
But we all know what happens.
Well, I don't remember what happens in TNG specifically. The later seasons, especially, I'm like, yeah, I don't remember Rose stuff really at all. Because I don't really care, to be honest.
You're not missing anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was the first, like, I remember these seasons most. We'll see. We will see.
Well, then we get the Geordi and Troy. This is a nice little everyday conversation about. I spent a lot of time at the seminars and got to go. Got a lot of swimming in, a lot of walking. Worked on my backstroke. Won second place in a chess tournament. Don't you know? Oh, and there was this girl, but you don't want to hear anything about that. And the look on her face, it's like, oh, how? That's all I wanted to hear about. It was good. It was a nice little walk and talk, and I really appreciated it. Busy corridors.
Yeah.
The whole walk was done. Like, it was just really well done. And very upbeat. Loved it.
Very anti-contextual to him being an assassin right now, which is the point.
Yes.
And it definitely reminds me of last week, or yesterday, with that, or whenever we did the episode, where she's talking to Beverly in the manicure area. It's super informal and super friendly. But I can imagine both quite liking the scene. I love the fact that clearly Deanna likes gossip. This is the Deanna wants the gossip scene. She's like, I haven't got much to do in my days. I'm not the busiest officer here. Don't have a uniform yet. My combat is higher than anyone else's because of the boobs. You know, it has to be higher because of my top. I could wear a uniform, but I'm not allowed to. I don't know, until Jellicoe comes and changes the whole thing. Come on, Jellicoe, hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
I disagree with that. She should be wearing these uniforms. They look a lot better on her. Just saying.
Well, it gives her more personality, but it's not.
Well, yeah, she said when she lost the cleavage, her character got smarter. So.
Well, they can play her as an officer more than just a counsellor, because they realize the counsellor does nothing for them. Like 8 times out of 10, they haven't got a counsellor role in an episode. But no, it's great. She just wants gospel. I'm assuming like there'll be a part 2 to this conversation later on in 10 forward when he's drinking and she's like, so. I'm assuming he's playing with her, like, you know, he's playing with her to try and have a conversation later. Like, he will tell her, I'm assuming.
That'll come up in counseling later, like, when he says, I'm not sure of anything anymore. Oh, we'll figure it out together. It's like, you never actually had sex with a woman, Geordi.
You're still a virgin.
I know you wanted to. But, no.
Ouch. Can you imagine, though, I lost my virginity in a Romulan simulation? Does that still count? It still counts. Geordi, mate, it doesn't count. Oh.
Misha, $5 with no comment, but thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. Makes a difference.
Good to see you again. And yes, I got your email, Misha.
But new Klingon map painting. We don't get that many new ones, and this is a good looking. Although actually, I think it's partially an old map painting they've tweaked because not all of it's Klingon. Yeah, they've added a few Klingon buildings, but I think it's the same one as the hospital when Riker got nicked. But they've added some Klingon buildings, which is and I think they've also darkened it. That's great, because you don't tend to make a map paint for one shot. But if it's a colony with Klingon stuff on it, then yeah, just throw a random pointy thing on a few things that have a Klingon symbol. Now look, we're a colony. Yes! Nice touch, guys. Well done. Huh.
And no like little figures walking or anything in this one. I noticed that, but that's okay.
Huh.
Yeah, but then we get the whole thing about the rebellion needs to be crushed, not coddled, and Federation interference. We found medical supplies, but we're not not in the habit of restricting our medical supply access. Well, all your free weapons so freely available as well? No. And he whips him the phaser rifle, which Picard catches. Good catch, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, these are definitely look like Federation weapons. Can we take this up to the ship to look at it? Okay, thanks. He's like, yeah, I got that. I got hundreds more, just like it.
That's a good line. I say that because he's like, yeah, we've got loads more, but hundreds is not loads more. That is loads more.
Yeah.
I love the slight little reference when he walks in. He's like Federation interference, and then it cuts to him walking to the two leading Federation officers. Like, yeah, lots of Federation interference here right now, isn't there? Like the editing is such a well timed. Although the only thing I don't like about Picard this week is that every scene says, "I can assure you, we have nothing to do with it." I'm thinking that is not good enough. You assuring means jack shit, Picard. Stop saying that. If you've been told to, you know what I mean. Like, if you're going to hide it, you're going to hide it. That means nothing. Say something else, please.
The weirdest line for me was, this is the only Klingon colony on the border of Federation space. Really?
Really?
Wow. Yeah. And he says, you cannot deny that Starfleet would be happy to see this Krios regain its independence. And he's like, are you talking like we're enemies and not allies? The Federation wouldn't get involved in this. But it's like the only colony on the Federation Klingon border. What? Yeah. Remember in TOS, all the colonies that they were protecting?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, we did lose, and there also is a neutral zone in early seasons. And it's like even if this planet did go free, wouldn't it still be in Klingon space? Because they would surely annex the space around it. Because if they're both allies, if they said Federation, please protect us, what would the Klingon Empire really allow their borders to be shifted and say, oh, we've just lost 4 light years of our space? Like, you'd still be in Klingon space. Sorry, I don't know. Although first time we've seen the phaser rifle, and it gets a pretty hero outing. Like, it is focused on pretty heavily. Personally, I don't like the design. It feels very rudimentary and bulky. It makes logical sense. You understand what it is, but it's not a good-looking phaser for me.
No, I agree. But it's fine.
It makes sense. It's just a bigger phaser.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of this Klingon actor governor guy? What do you think?
I think he's good. I think he's great as a Klingon.
I'm pretty damn sure he's in more things, just not as a Klingon, not with the same face, but I recognise the voice especially.
Yeah. Well, especially when they start trading insults back and forth, and the ambassador has to get between them, and it's like, gentlemen. That was actually pretty good, but built up the tension for sure. He's like, I'm going to go back to the ship, and I'll report back to you, Governor. Don't worry. And then 3 to transport, and they beam out.
Yeah, it's definitely a scene I'm sure Patrick quite liked, because it's a scene that you have to understand the character in the universe, really understand the character to know he's done enough Klingon stuff and he's enough of a negotiator. He knows Klingons are a fire with fire sort of people, because that one insult, that probably is the only reason. Yeah, that's probably the only reason he's still dealing with him later in the episode, because he knows he's not some Federation whippersnapper. Like, he knows what to do. No, it's a good. But also the blankness of Picard's face. He isn't doing it aggressively. He isn't doing it beautifully acted, minimalistly acted. Very, very. Again, the director knows this universe and is doing right things in the right universe, which is real bloody important.
Eugene, 100 rubles. Yep, that's the matte painting from Angel 1.
Okay, Angel 1. Yeah, they're always reused, but yes, good to confirm.
Then we get a staff meeting in engineering. It's like, you guys are basically doing everything great with me gone, so I don't have to do anything. Thanks. By the way, I got something to go do, so finish that level 4 thing that we were doing. Yeah. And then he goes into 10 forward, and you see O'Brien, and you're like, oh no. And this is one of the tests, because earlier the Romulans said we're going to have a series of tests for him to do. Just while he's with us and after he leaves us before the assassination, before whatever. And I always wondered why this happened, but I didn't catch it till this time that it was one of the tests to see whether it was the programming was working. And the ambassador guy is sitting at a table just right near them at the same time. So, because you got to keep in mind that he's within a certain range of Geordi at each of these E-band spikes. Yes.
Oh, he's in the...
Because later there's two characters that are always near Geordi. Picard.
Stuart, man. Oh, Stuart. Oh, Stuart. There he is.
Shut up. Yeah, they're sitting in 10 forward also, so yeah. I don't know. The scene played a little funny to me. Picard's not here though, which I thought was interesting because later Data says there's only 2 people that were in the vicinity of him at each time of these E-band spikes. This would have been one of the E-band spikes. Picard's not in 10 forward.
Yeah,
not a big deal.
Yeah, or maybe because it's so well. Yeah, that's true. But I guess Data doesn't really know where everyone was in this scene. Yeah, this is definitely one of the odd one out scenes. It works because you're obviously meant to think, okay, he's going to kill O'Brien or something dramatic. And so the tension's great. But the drinking is played sort of for laughs. Like, it feels oddly comical. But, I mean, how would you... Like, I'd rather have seen him actually trip. You know what I mean? Like, sell it as a, I can control myself, rather than just... Because anyone's watching, it's like, it doesn't... You know.
Yeah, well, the end of the scene, the way it fades out, he's like... He kind of does a smile, looks at his glass, and...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. But I love the fact that O'Brien's legitimately pissed at him. Like, he is trying to hold it in. Like, for some reason, he liked this uniform. He's like, it's fine, shut up. I'm fine. Like, I love the little repressed anger. It's actually quite nice. I guess he knows he got killed last time he was in this room, so he's like, that stunt hurt, LeVar. That hurt. Although, you know, it's a weird framing, because why would he be there? Like, is he going to say hi O'Brien? If he say hi O'Brien, why say hi to him when you're literally behind him? And you know what I mean? Like, even why he would be there is weird. To then drop the drink. Like, no one thinks about it, but which is a slightly smarter way of doing the setup.
Yeah, right before he pours the drink, I'm like, people have a personal bubble. You can usually tell when there's somebody like that close to you, like hovering. So I think going up the steps would have been a little.
Yep.
But then it would have been, that looks like an accident.
But that's the point, though.
It had to look deliberate for the audience to know that it's the programming, you know, I think.
Yeah, I mean, how do you film an accident to look intentional? That's hard.
You don't want your assassin to look like a bumbling idiot that was going to go talk to O'Brien and tripped over the stairs and spilled drink all over, and it's like, oopsie.
Yeah, it's a hard balance. But I didn't ever register the ambassador was there. And I wonder if you look back, if he had like touched his arm or something, or did something techie. I wonder.
No, because you don't see him before the drink gets spilled, because you can't see him initiate anything.
Okay.
So.
No, I like it though. And then you get a very unusual scene. Again, we get a hero shot of the phaser, which is nice. You never see the phaser beam continuous, so the phaser beam has to kind of like stand out as being a good effect. It kind of doesn't quite work as like a really high end effect, but it's pretty good.
And all I thought here was safety hazard. This is just in main engineering. You got this beam exposed. Somebody could trip, fall through the beam, die. Maybe it's a low power setting, whatever. Don't care.
Probably not.
But then there's one scene where like Data gets behind the beam, and it's like it's obviously hitting the thing. They turn it off, and then he turns it back on again while he's still standing there. It's like, is that to build tension that maybe he's trying to assassinate Data now? Like,
well, that's the way it's framed at the start. It's like, which is good. I mean, I like those false starts, but.
How does a blind man with a visor aim through a scope? Is that the same thing? Like he closed one eye? Like I don't, you know?
Well, it just reads the EM signature of the scope. I mean, it's the same thing, just translates it differently.
Ooh, see, that's clever.
Yeah, you just see, What makes me laugh about this scene, and I get it, but look at what Geordi's phaser is on. Those are
I know,
just
it's medical
boxes. Yeah, they're just boxes. They're just painted to kind of look as if they're one piece. They're just boxes.
Well, it's one of the carts from sickbay with a box on it. I thought the same thing. It's like, this screams not safe. All of it.
Yep.
This should be in a laboratory. This should be in a gymnasium. This should be in a holodeck. This shouldn't be in main engineering.
No. Hey, Stuart.
Pointed at the main MSD. At least it's not painted at the warp core.
At least it isn't that, because that would have been much funnier. if Geordi, they cut him pointing out the warp core. It's like, those fires a test. But yeah, it's one of those things where we've said, it's like I said with the episode where Data's doing a thing in engineering. It's like, what the hell are you doing it there for? Why have you got a desk and a chair there? Come on. It does look cool though. That set always looks cool. But yeah, you have labs. You've used labs. You've got data. Even Data's office would be better. You've got that set. It's available. It's a very.
This is like doing it on the bridge.
Yeah.
Have it. Geordi's in front of the view screen between the two consoles. The captain's sitting in his chair. The beam that's right at his head. It's about as safe as that.
It looks cool, just do not think about it. And just like I say, it just makes me laugh so much. They're just on boxes. Like, this is the most shitty looking, non-technical, they put no money into that. Yeah. I mean, this is an expensive episode. There's a lot of stuff going on here. As in, like, it's a medium, but it's just, oh my god, they're just boxes. I love it. So shit. But great detective work, though. I really appreciate their detective work. I'll be honest.
Yes, beam width, intensity, all that's working correctly. Energy cell usage is fine, 1.05 megajoules, whatever. But the efficiency reading is well beyond Starfleet's specifications. It's reading at 96%, and 86% is Starfleet's, like... And it kind of makes Starfleet look like a bunch of idiots, to be fair. But anyway, that's how they figure out that it's Romulan powered or Romulan made, because of the efficiency of the emitter beam.
Oh, it's a lovely bit of deduction. Because they can only make it so good or so bad. They didn't think if we make it a bit better. Like, I mean, yeah, our standard phaser beam's at 93. Why wouldn't yours be? But in fact, it does tell you. This is a nice way of telling you. Romulans are more advanced in some ways. They are a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a very little nice way of saying they've got cloaks, they've got other stuff, but like their default weapon on a reverse engineered Federation thing is what? That's like 7% better, 5% better. That's a big data.
Almost 10% better. Almost like 9.5% better or something like that. Yeah.
Because if data says extremely better, and he's Mr. Technical. That tells them about how much more efficient the Romulans can be with their tech.
Mm-hmm.
They're never really sold as being the most advanced, but yeah, they are a race to be worried about.
Yeah. Fleetpaw Swiftback, $2, 75th hit everyone. Yes, we're at 75 with 95 people watching. I think we can hit 100. Hit that like button if you haven't, and more super chats would be great. At least another
100. Honestly,
I was going to say that, but I thought that was too much.
Yeah, we still got an hour. Loads of fives. But go on, 100 likes. Maybe not 100 super chats, but 100 likes are a must.
Yeah, but a nice transition to the next scene. Slams the phaser down, or sets it down, and says, "The Romulans. They fashioned the perfect Federation phaser. The only thing that's the only thing that gave it away was they had to power it using their own power source or discharge crystal, whatever." So
well, and again, this episode just keeps showing the Romulans being stronger. They were able to replicate a Federation phaser easily, and make hundreds.
Hundreds of them.
That's impressive. And you would assume that the Klingons would dissect it to no end. Like, it fooled all of them.
Well, they later in this scene say, "Yes, we're going to verify your results, Captain. We're taking the phaser to verify your results. Just go ahead. It's fine."
But I assume that's double checking like new data. Like, we did our results. Now you're showing us what to look for, and now we'll double check based on your. They did not look at them previously. I'm sure. But
well, they held them up and went, "This is Federation." That's all they would have had to do.
It looks so shit. It's Federation.
Listen, Jericho. It's a fake.
It's too good a technology. Actually, wouldn't it be great if they had a little callback later on saying they actually improved their own tech because the Romulans, like the Romulan copy was better, so we improved ours.
That would make a lot of sense.
Actually, wouldn't it be great? Then it's like because Governor, can we have those rifles back? They're better. Can we use them? Because they're like we need them. That'd be great. And then awkward. Cut 4 years later. On DS9, they're fighting the Klingons, and the governor's there on the Negvar, and Picard's like, just so you know, on DS9 they're all using the phasers you got. So everyone's here in DS9 in that battle in the DS9, they're all being shot by his own rifles that he stole. Yeah.
Damn.
I'm creating all the meta canon.
Well, there's a few scenes here of Geordi's vision. He looks at the governor. He looks at the ambassador again. They're talking about it being a typical Romulan ploy, sowing the seeds of dissension and mistrust. And it's again, you're like, if you didn't know, you're like, who's he going to kill? Like, what's going on? So I kind of like that. Having known the episode, though, there's no tension at all.
Which is what I had.
Yeah.
But I do think if the graphic is unhelpful, because you're saying, who are you going to kill? If it was actually telling us through, it'd be one graphic, and then as it turned to the governor, the graphic would change. Like, there should be no discussion of who it is, but they can't actually do that, otherwise it gives away the tension. So the graphic is unhelpful. It just kind of reminds us.
And the fact there's always Romulan writing is like, I think Geordi would be like, the subtitles are in Romulan now. Why?
Well, yeah. Well, that mean. Yeah. That's funny.
Anyway, we're back on the ship at the science one, and Data's looking at the E-band blips and talking to Riker. And that they're not originating from the same location, so they're moving, which throws the idea of it being a protostar out completely, which is a Riker conclusion. Good job, Riker.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't make him an idiot in this one. Then he even asked the smart question of, are the Romulans known for using E-band for their communications? And Data's like, not that I'm aware of, no.
Although you would think they would use a different signal if they want to be covert. I'm just saying.
Well, it's the only thing they could do, because it's going into is matching the brainwave of a human, which Data figures out later. But
yeah.
No,
it's good. Everyone does a good job. Everyone's good.
Yeah.
Ooh, then we get some isolinear. And definitely looks better than when TOS you see the same sort of shot from underneath the console and it's just circuit boards. And this looks a bit, although it does
circuit boards and string and an old bell. It's like, oh, good job.
And some gum that they pull out and it's like, oh, okay, put the new gum in. Although I do think the way it's framed, it looks as if he's got a box that he's holding like stuck to a wall. I wish there was a bit more connectivity between the it doesn't feel like it's actually in the wall until he closes it. It just feels too isolated. It's a small thing, but I wish there was more circuitry vibe. But
I really love how clean it was. It's like, you see this, he changes a few things around and puts the cover back on. It's like, that's awesome. I wish I could have work on things like that. It's not complicated. You don't got to reach underneath things.
Yeah, and this is a good scene because this could be anything. Like, this could be this could be a bomb. This could be a trap. This could be a test. This could be a. Like, I like the sense of
Yeah, and so he beams the box full of weapons down and verifies that all the modifications are being erased from each directory, which is great. I mean, and later it's like, who on the ship can do that? There's only like 4 people. But yeah.
And also, like, this is an important scene because it tells us, the audience, that he, as an assassin, can also work on a higher functioning. Up to this point, as assassin, he's just been like, I will do that.
Spill some water.
Yeah, but now he's actually doing the full deduction and full discussion, so that's important. It means he's a more dangerous threat, which I really like.
And a really cool scene here when he comes up to the bridge. He comes up to the engineering station, and as he approaches the engineering station, it turns on. It's like it recognizes that he was approaching. That was awesome. It's a subtle little thing that you don't really notice that often, but it was really awesome.
And speaking of subtle, this Klingon man is very subtle. He walks around his entire office into the lens. I love that. It's such a choice as a director. Like, we tend to get flat, one-dimensional shots. That is a beautiful, stupid, lovely shot. And it tells you so much about the guy. Like, oh no, the camera's here. I'm talking to you, bitch.
Yeah, and the anger.
Actually, imagine this discovery. That hologram would be walking right up to Picard's face.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. Sorry.
You astonish me, Picard. Do you seriously believe you would succeed? We are not blind. Intercepted the weapons you transported to the surface. And he's like, oh, I assure you we didn't.
Another assurance. It's like, but we found the blood. What do you mean, Picard? We have the evidence. You're guilty. We have evidence. You did it. You can't assure me. We know you did. There's one ship in orbit at the moment.
Well, don't leave orbit. Oh, there's a Klingon attack cruiser uncloaking, and then 2 birds of prey coming in.
Now, I'll say I got pissy at Discovery for uncloaking because it's decloaking. But they keep saying uncloaking. How is uncloaking the right cadence? It doesn't sound good. 2 birds are uncloaking. What does that mean? Decloaking. But they say
They both mean the same thing. They both mean the same thing.
One sounds shit. Uncloaking. Although I thought the Vulture was introduced with Gowron in 2 episodes. I'm really surprised they just throw it in here with no fanfare. It's like, that's a brand new ship. Yeah, doesn't matter. Like
that's a good point.
Like,
that's a good point.
It's right. Like that. It's a big thing in the other one. I was very surprised. And is this telling us, because they said it's an unimportant colony, or is this a specific border patrol? Like, you know, because remember, there's only one really with Gowron, the Vulture.
I think these guys are probably here to quell the rebellion if they get the order to do so. Because the rebellion's been going on for a while. They're well aware of it. Okay. You'd think they'd have ships around just in case. You know. So
and obviously they may need to fight a Federation task force. But it's a big deal. That's the best ship of the Klingon fleet right now, and it's just hanging out. Like that is a toe-to-toe of the galaxy sort of ship, and they don't even mention it. Really. Just amazes me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the shot before the commercial is not very impressive in my opinion. The shot after the commercial is a cool looking shot. I really like that one.
Although I didn't like how when they cut to data, for some reason the ships are actually moving out of frame.
Are they?
Yeah, even your screen caps you
call them moving. They are.
Like all of them, it's really strange. I know the ships are moving forwards, but ships never move, and so like someone clearly didn't composite it properly because they're just like.
Well, I think they just wanted to make sense of 3D-ism on the monitor.
Just looks really awkward.
Fleet Pass Swiftback, $2. Love the reused shots here. Very nice. Yeah, and then we get the Geordi detective man trying to figure out what Geordi bad guy did. Great scene. I'm not even sure how they did it, but they bypassed all the security lockouts and erased all the transporter logs. And Picard's like, how many people on board is capable of this? He's like, I'm not even sure how it was done yet. As soon as I find that out, I might be able to give you an answer.
Which is a great answer.
Not many. Yeah, not many, that's for sure. So, damn.
I like the ambiguousness. Like, you still don't know where his brain is. Is this sabotage Geordi? In which case, that's a great answer. If it's real Geordi, that's also a great answer. But you're not sure how far that goes.
But the way he plays it and acts it, it's like he has no clue what the hell's going on. This is Geordi trying to solve a regular problem.
But it could be his programming stopping him from seeing the truth. Like it's still a medium until we get later on. I just love it's a really nice little played moment.
Yeah. And then the ambassador's like, the governor's not gonna. He's very capable of shooting your ship. You know.
Not known for his patience, I think they say.
Yeah. We only have a few hours at most, he says, so we gotta, find out where the power source was diverted from for the transport, so that we can kind of figure things out.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not doing other things. I know we have to end up in the transporter bay, but I feel like other investigations on our episodes, there'd be a grander. You know what I mean? There'd be more than just where did the transporter do? Like, that's not the most important thing.
That being said, this is such a cool scene next with the big MSD, and you see all the power flows, the different power flows routing from different systems, and that's not it.
Never seen that before.
Yeah, and they actually use it, and it's great. And I was looking for the plane and the little ducky. All you can see is the exocomp in the shuttle bay.
Biggest shuttle there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But no, this is really good. They track secondary power systems. Then they track life support power flows, and I love they're all different colors. It's showing all different paths.
It's beautiful. It's legitimately like a beautiful I never even remember this existing. I'm like, this is not an easy thing for them to do right now. Like, this is easy today, but this is them doing full sci-fi tech clever. And I love the earnestness of how LeVar plays it. Like, he's playing it legit, and you need that. No, it's great. Oh, wait, what is that? What's that big thing that is over the warp core. It's like a big purple, and I was gonna say it's the it's also a saucer separation line, but that's higher. What is that thing?
Big thing over the warp core.
Yeah, multicolored thing. I wonder if it's the fuel. I don't think it is, but
Oh, the big thing, like that's the deuterium tanks.
wow.
Yeah, those are the deuterium tanks on the Galaxy class. They're in the technical manual.
Yeah. No, this is a really, really good little scene. And there's such camaraderie between these two actors. I really hope they get to work together again in something. And I really, I wish LeVar had been in Picard, because that would have been, great.
Yeah. But they're off to Cargo Bay 4, everybody. You see everybody working. O'Brien's down there. And this is the whole thing. They're talking about 30 or 40 different ships and half a dozen different control systems. Who could do that? And Geordi's like, I think I could do it if I put my mind to it. Data, Lieutenant Costa, and Chief O'Brien, but that's about it. And Worf's like, well, standard procedure. Where were you guys last night at 11:23? O'Brien was with Keiko in the Arboretum. Data was on the bridge, and Geordi was in his quarters, and Lacosta was he was on duty in engineering, about 20 witnesses probably. So the only one that was by himself was Geordi. I love how Worf even asks, were you by yourself? I'm Geordi. Hello. I had company.
I had 2 Tinder dates that day. I was alone.
I was swiping right.
It still didn't work. Neither of my dates. The Delaney sisters weren't around yet.
Oh yes, the Delaney sisters.
Now, what do you think of Worf's approach here? Because in any other situation, you wouldn't assume it was one of them. Because
he doesn't. It's easily dismissed.
Yeah.
They all have their and he's like, okay, well, there's obviously somebody else on board. How So, it's very quickly. It's actually very, very true to what it would be in most episodes.
Yeah.
So.
I was just wondering, because he still feels committed to the bit of, well, I gotta check. But yeah, I mean, the most logical thing is it's not going to be Geordi, is it? Why would it be so? The most logical is it would be somebody else. Although if there are that many people, I love Geordi doesn't even know if he could do it. That's great. That also implies to me that the Romulans also have the commands to the D. They showed him what to do, because he can't be spending 7-8 hours in the cargo bay and not be noticed. They have to have a quicker plan. So I really like that for sure.
Yeah. Well, it was such a good line. I could do it if I put my mind to it, probably. It's like, wow.
And the fact that he's so honest. These guys are so professional, but they've nothing to hide. And even in the brief from later, he does keep putting himself in the line of fire.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows he doesn't do it. They don't believe him, but he is so honest about. I mean, I have no alibi, but I didn't do it. What a guy, what a team. It's great.
And speaking of, what a guy, what a team. We got a great team here at Trekyards. We
do.
So Misha throws in a $10 super chat. No comment, but thank you so much.
It is a comment. A comment of support.
Yes, it means a lot. Beautiful. It really does. Thank you so much. So next scene, we're up in the ready room, and they're talking to the ambassador, talking about how the erasures were complete, and they need to basically keep tracking this down, see if there's any more evidence available. Everyone with the necessary skills has an alibi, and again, you see the Geordi vision on the ambassador, except for me. That is, I was alone in my quarters at the time.
Yeah.
And the ambassador's like, well, whoever did this must have been specifically trained.
Which is true.
Yep.
Although DX says, doesn't the ship know where everyone is at all times? Worf should just ask the computer. It's true. How do they get around the comm badge saying he was in the... They never address that.
Worf didn't check. Just took his word for it by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Unless he deactivated his comm badge. There's a lot of things that could have been done.
And that would have been a cool moment, actually. Maybe if he'd left the comm badge in his office.
Yeah.
And he'd walked out, or if he left outside cargo bay. Yeah, that'd have been another nice detail.
Yeah.
Or if he had 2 comm badges, if he swaps them in his quarters later on. Or I don't know. It's excessive, obviously, but yeah, you would think Worf would, because that'd be another way of easily tracking it. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good scene. And I like the fact that I know the Klingon's bad this scene, but he does play it straight until the end. Like, there's no clues he's bad. He's very much and penny drops.
Yeah, yeah. And he's a nice guy until he's bad. Then you just don't like him. It's like, damn.
Yeah, yeah. He was one of the best of us. He was our top 10 Klingon, Stuart, until this scene.
But then they talk about another E-band emission's been detected, and he's like, E-band? It's like, yes. Riker thinks it's some tracking stuff down, Data says. So him and Geordi leave, and then the ambassador's like, I think you, Picard, that you should send an invitation to the governor to have him come up and see the investigation that you're doing. Put his mind at ease. Picard's like, do you think he'll come? Trust me, I'll talk him into it. It's like, okay, well, there you go. Yeah.
I love it, because again, I was very much the second watch for this one. He's like, shit. Gotta do it quicker. Right, we'll get him to the ship. Right. I love that. It's all there. It's all contextually there. But this guy has balls of steel. He plays it so calm and yet so logical. I love it.
And yet does he? Because the next scene, he's in his goddamn quarters eating food.
Stress eating.
Like, you were going to be going down to get the guy up. Like, what? Anyway, it's just kind of out of context. And then the door chimes, and it's like, come in, Mr. LaForge. I don't know. Something about watching this guy eat is fascinating to me, by the way. Anyway, he says the investigation is moving faster than expected. You're in danger of being exposed, so we got to move things up. I'm going to go to the surface, bring him up with me. You're going to shoot him in the cargo bay very publicly, and many witnesses, and say you did it on behalf of Starfleet and support of Cryosian independence. It's like, okay, but there's not that much of a rush if you had time to stop in your quarters and have one last feast. You know? Yeah. It's a small little bump in the road, but it's not a big deal.
It's a stark editing choice.
I think it should have been earlier in the episode. Almost.
One scene earlier, literally, to say, I'm going to head down in 45 minutes after my dinner. That's what they're saying. Even there's 3 battleships outside their ship, the guy's impatient. It's a very not organic edit. And think about this, Stuart. Wouldn't he get better food on the Klingon colony?
You'd think. Maybe he likes the replicated version.
Well, he's used to living on Romulan ships. Ooh, so he has replicated stuff. Yeah, it definitely feels like this might have been like a reshoot, like an additional scene of, okay, we haven't actually started seeing them together. Let's do this one. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't, but yeah,
it wasn't with the elaborate meal that they had there. That wasn't just hey, let's pick up that scene.
But speaking of picking up that scene, they picked off his duvet just so they can see him move. Is this how he sleeps, in bright red on bright blue, with his spotlights for some reason? And
people sleeping in Star Trek, that should be a whole live, because you get the most uncomfortable pillows, especially on DS9.
Yep. Voyager. Yeah. I mean, hey, at least there's real pillows. Yeah, and obviously TOS, they're not even under duvets, just sleep on top of stuff. Yeah, no good. But then we get the Beverly scene, and as I said before, every scene with every character is fully utilized. She is used properly. She has her own character moment. It's cute, it's nice, it works well, and yet you get that nice light feeling of Geordi's dialogue. He's still, even though it's a really good little scene. For what it is, like it's a well achieved scene.
Yes. There's slight dilation of the blood vessels behind his one eye, but other than that, he's fine. And she's like, maybe you should get your visor tuned up when we get to Starbase 34 in a month. It's like, okay, so for a month, or Starbase 36, sorry. For a month, he's got to put up with this shit. I don't know. But yeah, perfect little sickbay scene. Then we get the transporter.
I also like, very briefly, the fact that she doesn't just give him drugs. She gives him a thing next to his bed that like, it's like a sound wave thing. And
a somnatic inducer. Yes.
It's a very, very small detail, but she doesn't just give someone drugs. That I like that for some reason. I like that little nuance of good doctoring. Although I can imagine, just like with any situation, it's like being a CGI artist. If someone messages me, it's normally to do something for them. If he's walking to sick bay, she's like, "Oh, hi, Geordi." It's not a social call. Like it's very much, "How can I help you? What's wrong? I'm coming to you because I'm ill." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously, so her job is to see people that are not well, that come in because they have to see her because they're unwell. But I still love the freshness she gives it. She's like, "Oh, hey." I just like the even the context, you know.
Well, thanks for breaking up my day. Good to see you. Sorry you're not feeling well, but how can I help? It's one of those.
Yeah, I haven't seen since 2 days ago with the last briefing. Speaking of, is her name Kaylee? Katie, the lady with the every time extra, is now a transport chief. I remember, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so energized, and they come up, the ambassador and the governor guy, and they're like, "I think you should probably go show him what's going on in Cargo Bay 4 there, Picard."
Yes, Cargo Bay 4. Go to Cargo Bay 4 at 14:36. What are they?
And stand on the red X. Or the plastic bag on the floor so you don't get blood everywhere.
Wear a bright red turtleneck and a hat that has an X on it. Well, it's fine. So it's a Deadpool. No, Deadshot. It's fine.
Deadshot, yeah.
Also, again, I love the balls on this guy to beam up to a thing where he has proof of weapons. He has proof of weapons being beamed down. Like, this is a brave Klingon. I'm gonna be honest. But that obviously should be brave. But this is a brave Klingon.
He's very Klingon-y.
Yeah, yeah.
Crosses puts in £5.
Thank you.
I wonder if Geordi's red pajamas have a delta on them like the disco ones. I will guarantee no, they don't.
Yeah, hopefully not.
This next scene, though, with Data trying to figure out what's going on with the E-band emissions is great. The way he puts it together, it's so organic, works so well. Basically, nothing matches up, and he says what would match, and the computer says the human brainwave pattern. So, Stanley went away. So yeah, checks all Romulan frequencies and cryptographic formats and life form emissions, and it comes up with the human brainwave, which is great. What would be needed for that kind of communication? And it goes into the system to modify the electromagnetic spectrum and carry those messages directly to the brain. It's like, ding, I know who it is or what's going on. And then we get a shot of a really janky prop phaser.
Yeah. Well, my only issue with this scene is that if this is what normally happens, I have a little bit less respect for Data, because his investigation is having the computer do all the work. Anyone could do this.
Yes.
Like it's just a Q&A session with the computer doing all of the logistics, which is what happens to the shuttle as well. Like, he's not doing anything himself.
Yeah. And even later, we'll get into that in a second, but
you know what I mean?
Anyway.
It's a weird context. Like, he's not doing the investigation.
Yes.
He's doing the investigation, but the computer's doing all the hard work. And Boise
that's how investigations work. You got to ask the right questions. I
just find it a bit funny. We don't tend to see this.
Yeah.
I just, shows he's not the genius that everyone thinks he is. And yeah, the Type 1, this bugs me because obviously we all had the Playmates one that's effing huge. And I can't imagine anyone liked. And this is the first time we've seen this in a long time. I know it was in earlier seasons, but never really a close-up properly. It was abandoned for a reason. But I'm sure they thought, we'll bring it back for this one because he needs a small phaser. But never quite worked.
And Fleet Paw Swiftback puts in $2. TNG sleepwear always made me feel uncomfortable.
Sure. Oh.
It always looked comfortable, though, but yeah, I can see why you'd say that.
And Devereaux says, yes, Picard has some great sleepwear because he chooses the chest hair models, chest hair version.
Yes. Yeah. Then Data goes down and checks out the shuttlecraft. Scan all mission logs for discrepancies, perform level 5 diagnostic, and then we cut back to Geordi heading down in the turbo lift.
And this makes me laugh because this is the same set dressed as two things. And I know that, but they do quite a good job at it's their big room.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they kind of get away with it. I love the Geordi coming out of the turbolift. That's
the walleye effect, like
beautiful.
That's great. Yeah.
And you never get to see the ceiling, really. So it's like, oh, that's what the ceiling looks like.
The one thing that throws me off though is at the end of the corridor, he looks this way and goes this way. It's like what? It's so unnatural the way he does it. That's probably the point.
Yeah.
Like I know you don't want to run into somebody, but you usually look that way, then look that way to turn. He just looks that way and turns. It's like, holy, what the hell? Don't do that.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were always trying to give Terminator vibes.
Dun 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 dun.
Exactly.
So Data's scanning the outside of the structure of the shuttle, the structural integrity.
As you said, asking the right questions, because you would think they'd be noticed by somebody else, but they haven't looked for it.
Yeah. And submicroscopic deformations are present in the nose cone and by the impulse engines. Makes sense. The nose cone is where the tractor beam locked on, and around the impulse engines, Geordi was probably trying to pull away, so it was causing some. It's great, and it's like it was subjected to a tractor beam. Dun dun dun.
Although, can you imagine how many times the computer's deduction is wrong, and they're like, oh, the computer thought this. Well, it wasn't that. Like he's really trusting the assumption. But yeah, and they're that precise. Boy, only one thing, a tractor beam, really? Okay. Surprisingly, they couldn't say Romulan tractor beam with all their clever knowledge.
Not the 4 years of service the shuttle has undergone and gone through atmospheres and who knows what else.
Have you scanned it for that thing in the last 4 years? Who's to say? Yeah. And then you have a great, I saw a meme yesterday which had a Worf in a trial court case, and he says, "Sir, I present the most dangerous thing in Starfleet." And it's one of the barrels that keeps falling on him. And all I thought was, boy, there's a lot of Worf dangerous barrels. I hope he's not in this scene. He's going to get hit by a barrel. Luckily he didn't, but a lot of barrels in this scene.
Yeah. And there's really good dialogue from Picard here talking about how every trace has its own unique signature. It's very faint to hear, but it's in the subtitles, and it's great dialogue for showing what their investigation is trying to figure out exactly. Geordi pulls out his little phaser, and then
I guess
O'Brien's
he's got a pocket now. I guess
I know
they don't have pockets, but he does today. Like I really wish it came out of his like.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has a pocket all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Weird.
And O'Brien interrupts him and is like, "Could you help me look at the pattern buffers?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, Chief."
And I was thinking,
I thought it was a little odd. You should be one track minding right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you not done that already?
Yeah.
Why is this? Yeah, but it's fine. It's just They have to say something. It's fine.
Yeah. Data does more like replication, whatever patterns.
Yes.
It turns to be Romulan. It's like, no. Very good, quick back and forth. These are really well done. And then it's like Data to the Forge, no answer. So Data just nicely strolling through the hallway, not running, no sense of urgency.
No, it is.
I'm thinking,
he's quicker than he normally is.
Maybe, but he could be a lot faster.
Well, he could probably run there instantly, couldn't he? Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you just message Picard at this point? But no, he calls Worf, which is great. That's Worf's job. He's head of security. That's fine. But Worf's on a ladder.
What a choice that was.
And it's like, arrest LaForge right away. Sir, that's an order. And yeah, I mean, this is actually so well done. He's walking up. Worf tries to get through, but the guards think he might be attacking the governor. So they hold him. It's like,
Although briefly, before you keep going, then briefly, I thought it was a bit odd the way Worf is like, when he says, get him, he's like, he's like, what? What do you mean? Like, he really doubts him, and the tone of voice is a very odd choice. And then, of all the things, like, the Klingons to stop Worf, it felt a little bit inorganic. Like, a little bit. Like, he's allowed to walk forwards, and he should have said, sir, that, like, the frame doesn't
he did. He says the Forge, and you mentioned it when the guy beamed onto into the transporter room. This guy's got balls of steel beaming up to his ship. that is beaming down weapons to your enemy. So these guys are on high alert for somebody going to be attacking the governor.
I like that.
So as soon as Worf comes up, they're going to try to stop him.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
I didn't think there was enough dialogue from Worf though. Like,
yes, not at all.
You should have said that Forge is going to or something. Look out, governor. I don't know what he said, but anyway.
You can never claim Worf as being a talky character, so his first reaction is action, not words. So I can kind of buy that. I'm not sure if the editing of Picard pulling the phaser away is quite as good as they hoped.
It's awful.
There you go. Okay. Well, hey, less diplomatic than what I said. But yeah, saves his life. Boom. Instant. There you go. Wow. Seconds away. Well, no, half a second away.
Yeah. And then the guy's like, you tried to kill me? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, I wish I could explain it. And Data's like, I can maybe help. Hey.
Yeah, I love
the whole. I think he was abducted on his. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just love because like, if I could explain, because he has no idea. He has no idea. Why the hell would he do this? It's a simple face, but yeah, it's good.
And this is a part where I wish that there would have been some indication from the governor that he suspected that the other guy, the ambassador, might be involved, because immediately it's like only 2 people were within range of Geordi with these E-band emissions the whole time, Picard and the ambassador. And right away the governor looks at he doesn't look at the Starfleet officer who's probably an enemy. He looks at the ambassador like he had some suspicion. That's one of the things that kind of throws me a little bit in this scene. Not a big deal, mind you, because he probably did have suspicions. We just didn't see them. So,
no, I know what you mean, but I think when you say Romulans, you don't assume Romulans and Federation. Whereas we know there's been Romulans and Klingons. We know there's politics there.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, so I think in this one context, of all the people it could be, if it's 50-50, like he's gonna beat the shit out of the guy to see if it was him. So I think also because he doesn't like the guy, he's gonna say more like, "Oh, I'm gonna see if it's you." So I don't think it's as bad as you. I think it actually works fine. I think he can believe it, and that says a lot about the guy's character.
Yeah, and the ambassador tries pushing it off. He's like, "Could the signals have come from a cloaked Romulan ship?" No, that's not possible. Yeah. Like, there's some good dialogue here.
And he plays it damn calm, the ambassador. Like, he really, like, he lays it in calm until he asks for asylum, which is so awkward. He just had asylum with the dying guy. And because, like, absolutely wants to prove innocent. And the guy's like, shit.
Scheiße.
I love that. Because, yeah, what a sense of guilt. I mean, of course he's guilty when he starts to ask for asylum. Boy, goodness.
And the Klingon beam out was kind of funny. It felt a little fairy dusty. I don't know. I mean, it didn't feel like a good Klingon transporter.
It is the normal transporter beam, to be fair. At least they got that consistent. I just thought it was a bit dodgy that without any warning, any prep, any approval, the shields aren't up against Vorcha. Like normally you go to a transporter, transporter room, so you're formal beaming in and out. I wish Picard had held to the bridge saying, lower the shields, they're going to beam out or something. It just felt weird, like, how can you just beam straight out of the ship? I mean, okay, well, fine.
It'd be funny if they gave the order to beam and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And Picard's like, lower the shields, please.
Yeah.
And then...
Actually, that if you had, like, lookalikes, that'd be great, like, fan re-edit. You take scenes from Star Trek where you need one more thing for it to make sense, and it's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I was waiting for Krug's line, ooh, achoo! And then it's something else. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's beam me up. They're not beaming me up, obviously, but that'd have been cool. But guys, 3 more likes, $30 more. We're closing to the end, and we're still light on both. We need those likes, and we need those super chats. So at least 20 more super chat and 3 more likes. But a bit more would be good, please. And we're getting close to what you think as well. But I know I quite like the. It is abrupt, but also it's not abrupt. It's
appropriately abrupt.
It needed one more thing. It needed, like, the governor walk up to Picard like that same face-to-face saying, if it isn't him, I'm coming back for you. And Picard's like, yeah, try. Like, that moment would have been great, because he knows he's innocent, so that would have been fun, right?
Yeah. And then, really, really, really loud, but I remember! It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I remember everything.
Yeah.
The
And
Andorian waiter that fucked up their orders, and
this is a real unusual scene as well. Like the episode is done. This is an unnecessary scene, but it really is. I'm glad they put the time in.
If this wouldn't have been here, we would have complained.
Yes.
We need one more scene with Geordi dealing with things.
Mm-hmm.
So at least this is here.
Yeah.
That's good.
All credit. All credit.
Yeah, she's like, it's a slow process, but we'll figure this out together. And I love how the way she cues him is, what did you do? What was the last thing you did when the Romulan ship decloaked or uncloaked? Sorry, I'm going to use uncloaked from now on every time just to piss you off.
Bugs me.
And that's when he clues in, like, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I love the acting. It's really good. It really, really is.
And when he says, I'm just not sure about anything, and she's like, believe it or not, that's a good sign. It's a beginning. Yeah.
And it's good to see, like, again, everyone gets used properly. She gets to be used as a counselor. Exactly right. And just to try and to get the moment where she tricks his brain to saying the truth, to act that and to believe it is hard. Because you have to say what your subconscious is thinking, but not what you're thinking. I just love his performance. And considering the depth in this man's performance, where you can't see his eyes, already, like, this is a lot of stuff you're losing. How am I feeling?
Especially on LeVar Burton. His eyes are very emotive.
Jesus, yeah. So he does exceptionally well. He always does, but he shows that a blind man, where you can't see his eyes, can give a full hero performance with no issue. That's the guy. Really well done. That's all right, Robert. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Robert Westfall, don't worry.
It's
just being here is good support. Hit the like button. That's a great way to support us.
Oh, it's true. It's true. No, it's a really good epilogue scene. And, yeah, although to be fair, would he want to remember being tortured?
Oh, all the things that he was shown? Yeah, like the atrocities. Like, yeah.
I'd rather remember getting laid, to be honest. Like, seriously, Although I'm wondering if, because the way his memories are I'm wondering if they just downloaded the memories from the stand-in, because then they're not fake memories. Like, wouldn't that be a more clever way of, like, getting away with it?
That would be, actually, yeah.
Because, I mean, how many times in Star Trek they're like, those aren't real memories? I mean, that's me going a bit far, but what if the fake guy's visor actually, like, records everything? Like, in a way because remember, he's seeing through a visor.
Makes perfect sense. Absolutely. I never even thought about that, but yeah.
So then we know that guy's got game. Too much game, probably. So that is a whole nother level. But I see the Romulans are so ready for this.
Yeah.
I would assume that would be a way of doing it.
Fleet Pass Swiftback, $2. I missed You Swear Well, Picard, didn't I? Yes, you did. That was the back and forth was really good. And Fleet Pass Swiftback, $2. 102 likes. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. Hit like, though. Let's get up to 110 at least. Another 5 likes would be great. And like Samuel said, another $30 would be good. But
I thought more people would turn up for this one. It's a really good one.
Well, usually we get around 60 to 70. This was 97. We were over 100 at one point. So.
But I mean, that's the thing. We all have our own soft spot episodes, and this is definitely a soft spot for me.
Yeah. So you want to do your wrap up first? Or you want me to do my wrap up
can. Yeah, let's keep that consistent with the intro. And guys, obviously, you say about the scores.
Yeah, just going to do that. Before we get into our scores and our wrap up, if you guys want to super chat your score, please do so. We will read it. I will read it after we're done our little thing. If you just want to put it in the regular chat, Samuel will give it a read. But yeah, keep in mind that there is the last super chat slot if you guys are interested and you want to do the sniping for it. That's always a fun thing that we do here. We should call it phasering or something. We should change it more Star Trek-ish. But anyway, yeah, keep that in mind, guys. So put your scores in for all of season 4 and all of TNG. So out of 10. So yeah, Samuel, you really enjoyed this episode.
I did.
So let us know your thoughts and your scores.
Yeah. And this one is one I was really nervous about. I hoped it would keep the same level I thought. And I think I like it a bit more because I saw the nuance as a filmmaker, having watched it properly and really focusing on it. The amount of effort that went into this one is a lot. I think, though, a lot of stuff gets reused in Redemption, like the Romulan costumes and stuff. So I think they were kind of like, right, we know we're investing in later goods, which is great. That's a great way of doing it. I'm sure we'll see that set again in some form soon. But they were like, what do we have? What can we use? Boom, boom, boom. So there's a lot of stuff. We've got a phase rifle, a hand phaser, the little shuttle pod, inside and outside, a Deredex, new Romulans, new Klingons.
Cargo bay.
Cargo bay. There's a ton of stuff. There's more stuff than you think. And the fact the entire cast gets something to do is actually very, very rare.
Even Tasha.
Whoo! Boy! Damn! Wow, we're season 1 here. That's a really good point. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. And Tasha got more to do this week than most episodes.
More lines in this episode than her whole run as Tasha.
Oh, that's too far. So actually, this one is a really odd episode in a lot of ways. Actually, when you really think about it. But as a sci-fi concept, it's great. It's very done before, but it works really well because it uses everyone like the visor I think it actually works better. I think than the Duras sisters' plan of using it as a camera. That comes across as a bit silly. This works, I think, better. It's more complicated, obviously, but it works better. And it's a very political in-universe episode, and so you gain a lot of knowledge about the Romulans, Klingons, etc. So I really like all that stuff. Score-wise, that's tricky. Is it a top tier for this season? Probably, but this season is very strong. Like this episode doesn't necessarily have a moment that's like, damn, it's so good, but it doesn't drop a bar almost ever. This season, I'm gonna say 8.7.
Okay.
And for all TNG, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Holy
top tier TNG for me. Doesn't do much wrong. And I could probably be convinced if we do to go higher than 9, like 9.1, 9.2, depending how quick we have to get to the system. Yeah, I'd make a warp joke, but and that's just me. That you give your own score, but this for me is definitely top tier.
I was just gonna say, this is not one that comes to mind if somebody said to me, give me a list of some of the best episodes of TNG. This one doesn't even register.
Would for me.
I think of the scene where the bird parade of cloaks behind them, or the warbird, and that's about it. So this one isn't up there. It's not as good for me. I did enjoy a lot of it, but you're absolutely right about the cast being used appropriately, and I never really considered that. Mm-hmm. There were quite a few good points you did bring up during this that I kind of upped it a little bit for me.
That's good. Yeah.
It's very much a solid episode.
But it is nice to have disparative scores, though. It is nice when like our top 10s aren't the same. So do your gut reaction. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't really do anything wrong or bad. I don't know why it just doesn't quite slot into that memorable place for me.
It's like Night Terrors and the one with Geordi being converted. For you, both much higher. I'm like, yeah. So we do have alternates,
I think those impacted me because of my age at the time. The shadow with the holodeck thing was, stuff like that. This one, not a good detective work from. And again, getting to see the MSD and stuff in engineering and
a lot of small stuff.
The janky boxes with the phaser test, which is just dangerous beyond all danger. Anyway, oh my goodness. Okay, for the season, like you said, it is a strong season, but for the season, this is probably going to get a 8 out of 10 for me.
Oh, okay.
For all of TNG, though, this is where I think it falls a little bit flatter for me, because like I said, if you say TNG, throw me some of your favorite episodes, this one would never even come up in my mind, unfortunately. So that being said, I'm probably going to give it a 7 out of 10 for all of TNG. Just because when you watch it, it's like, that was really enjoyable, but then for some reason, I don't know why, it's just not very memorable. I don't know. It's an odd one for me in that regard. So
I know the fact that I remember it so much is like when we get to Parallels. For me, that's like top tier because something about it hits me personally.
Yeah.
either based on how many times I've seen it or whatever. So this is definitely one I would say. Like, think of a good TNG, because there's like so many levels of good TNG for me. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. I yeah. All for that. Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Let's see what the super chat scores are. We only got 2 there. Well, 1, I think, but that's okay. Fleet Pass Swiftback, $5. 8 out of 10 for season 4.
Okay.
7 out of 10 for TNG.
Oh.
Great Geordi must suffer episode.
Yes.
And O'Brien, he suffers twice. Come on now. The reveal of the ambassador being the bad guy was staggering. Picard's cussing was epic. Yeah. And Misha, $20 to make Sam happy. Well, thank you very much, Misha. You've been making us happy through this whole one.
Yeah.
You've done some good super chats, so thank you so much.
It does make a big difference. Now we're only $11 away from a number and 21 away from a really good number. Because that's the thing. That 20 is a leap. So 21 more and we are like a good place. Let's do the non-super scores. Let's see what you guys said. I'd love to know what you guys think. So do put in your scores right now. All 88 of you. Jump to your phones. Jump to your iPads. Tell us what you think. Put your scores in now. Let's see. So we've got 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8, 8.9 from Aussie, 8, 8.2, 8.5, 8, 7.5, 9 out of 10, Alex, 6 out of 10, Robert, 8.5 for Lance, 8.5 for Vision. So yeah, basically between us both, which is a good place to be. And you also posted. Why did you post?
Because I thought it'd be funny.
It is funny. I'm like, Trekyards, eh? Sylvia, thanks, Sylvia. You hacked into his account. Great, well done.
There's more scores there, so keep reading them, and then there's another super chat score I'll read in a second.
8.5, 8, 8.8, 7, 8, 7, 7. That's interesting. Yeah, really, very small spectrum, but in between us both. Yeah.
Area 51, $5 for the Romulans casually wandering around Federation space like a boss.
Yeah, seriously.
But you got to imagine, like, they got a cloaking device. They can literally be anywhere and they wouldn't get detected. So I have no problem with them being in the Ryza system.
And honestly, there's probably a ship in like our solar system at all times.
Parked beside Sir Space Dock, just watching shit.
Yeah, that guy's so bored. He's like, I've seen 430 Mirandas today. Why are there so many Miranda classes? Jesus Christ. Oh, Galaxy. Miranda. There's no Constitution classes. Why is there only Miranda class Excelsiors? It's so weird. Dude,
if only we were smaller, we could fly into the space dock and see what's going on in there. But
oh, yeah.
Too big.
I was thinking a smaller ship, but that's true.
Not a band account, $2. 8.5 out of 10. It's good, especially compared to season 2.
Although, boy, if this was in season 1 or 2, it'd be like a 9.5. I mean, this is like better than everything in season 1 and season 2, pretty much. Yeah. And I'll be honest though, and I did check this out, but for me, easily better than Measure of a Man Part 2, which is the start of this season. Like, hands down better. I enjoy it way more than Measure of a Man Part 2. Best of both worlds Part 2, I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Anyway.
For me, anyway.
But see, the problem is, this episode, like you said, if it was in season 1 or 2, or even season 6 and 7, which have overall less, like, weaker episodes, this is such a solid season that for me, there's just more good surrounding it. So it kind of gets overshadowed a little bit. So
no, that's a few of these episodes this season have been like annoyingly low scores.
Yeah.
Because
Squadra Course, $2 back. How's it going? It's going good. Good time to come back. We're just wrapping up with our scores. So you got to go back and watch the rest, because I think we talked about you for about a good half hour at one point after you showed up the first time.
Ooh, we're only $9 away though, Stuart. Only 9. That's close. That's real close.
And Squadra Course has the last super chat slot right now. So if you want to get in on that and get that last super chat slot, we have to have something funny for each time for the last super chat person. Like, I don't know what.
Maybe play. Doesn't one of the characters sing for "He's a jolly good fellow" once, embarrassingly? Isn't that a
Probably.
I think it's either Riker or Picard, which is why it's weird.
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he is a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny.
Yes. Unless you're brainwashed and you lose your memory and then you have to regain it via therapy that never quite works. Then you might not remember.
True story, bro.
And Stuart, pimp out our drunk live.
Saturday.
Ooh.
Saturday.
I was thinking it. I was thinking that exactly.
Yeah, we'll be having our Drunkyards hangout. I don't know if it'll be as retrospective of this season. I don't know if we get the other two in.
Best make them double, like, because then we can just savor it. And
True. What are we doing then? What's it going to be on?
It's a hangout. It's a look at Christmas presents. It's talk about cool stuff.
Jesus, that's forever ago.
I know.
Put all this shit away.
Well,
I had it all out. I had it all stacked up. It's all put away now. So you're out of luck there, my friend.
Maybe. Well, I mean, if it's in a bookcase, it's easy to get out again. I mean, you say that, but if it's display pieces,
I'm not. No, it's all over the house. And I threw the boxes away for the other stuff that I wanted.
Pick your favorite one or two. I'm not asking them.
I'll just talk to them because you'll know what. Jeez, I gotta remember what they all are now.
This is for the fans. Come on, this is for the fans. You know.
Squadra Course $2 back. How's it going? Oh, he said that already. So did I.
Still 9. But I am getting some other ciders, some other flavors. So I'm prepped. So I expect to have a nice big selection of alcohols.
And I got a THC infused ginger ale. So it's like getting high. So I'll have that as well.
It'll be even more fun. Although we might do a truth or drink or whatever the thing you call it at some point, kind of like segment it, kind of like part 2 is that.
The funny thing is, okay, I've done 2 truth or drinks and I've done 1 would you rather or drink. Would you rather answer or drink?
Yes.
That's what I called it. And the would you rather questions are quite interesting, embarrassing, sometimes just gross in general. I found I was drinking more with the would you rather questions because even though they don't really apply to anything, it's just you can't pick which one you'd rather answer. So it's like I'll just take a drink for that one because the fun part about the would you rather questions is you get to talk the pros and cons of each answer, which is a really fun discussion. So that might be a good one for us to do together because I think that there's some really interesting things that people can come up with. So,
and it's not just that, but I saw a little bit of that, and it isn't just about being asked weird things. It's about being asked really weird things that we couldn't think of. Like you get asked, like, would you rather? I think it was like make out with Troy or the Bajoran lady from TNG.
Row.
Yeah, and you're like, I think you said Troy, but barely or something. But you took a drink because it was gross, and it's like, wow, funny.
Yeah, like I don't want to answer, but you at least still talk about the pros and cons of each before you answer because you're trying to talk yourself into an answer, and it's like, I'd rather not. I'd rather not pick one of those.
So it's funny because being given really creative, weird things is the fun bit. So I can see the fun of that for sure.
The example that I always use is one of the ones that I always remember is: would you rather shit yourself every day in the privacy of your own home, or would you rather shit yourself once in public every month, and you didn't know when it was going to happen, and you had to go out in public?
Oh, that's different then.
Yeah, so either way, you got to clean up shit out of a diaper or whatever, but one's in privacy, one's in public.
Well, and to be similar, there's a game called $1 Million But, which is pretty self-explanatory, and I actually played that on drunk nights out with friends a few times, because $1 million is a lot of money, but how far will you push somebody? And it's best to make it sort of relatively specific. And there's actually a game show about it for a bit, so you've got to think of interesting scenarios. And I think the one I like to use on people, and you drink. I don't know if you I don't know how you'd make a drinking or just have fun drinking it, but it's a fun scenario. So the one I thought of first was, okay, $1 million, but so you get $1 million if you can do this.
Yeah.
$1 million, but you have to be locked in a blank white room where you have to be in there for 48 hours, and all night and all day and all night and all day You have to listen to Justin Bieber music on repeat, non-stop, all night and all day. And because he only has so many songs, they wouldn't even fit into 2 hours of time. And so would you be able to zone out his music? Or would it get so horrible because it's 2 days, every single second of every single day?
See, I could do it with Justin Bieber. I could tune that out for $1 million easily. But if it was Neil Diamond music, I'd slit my wrists after 10 seconds.
But there's some Justin Bieber songs. There's some bad Justin Bieber songs though.
I know, but it's rhythmic enough that you can tune it out. Neil Diamond's got this grating voice. You just want to. I fucking hate every time he comes on. It's off, done.
But imagine 13 hours in, you've listened to every song 400 times. And you're sleeping. Imagine waking up. Like, your dreams will be filled with music. Like, that is literal torture.
It's white noise, though, after a point.
But then it become not white noise at another point, and you have to listen to it again. And, it's like once you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Mr. Jericho, what about Baby Shark?
Oh, that's... Oi.
Or, this is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that... Like that.
Oh, okay.
Like, even that I could tune out after a while, unless it's blasting like really loud. If it's just playing normal volume, yeah.
Well, the music's loud enough to be slightly annoying. Like, it's not gentle, but also you got to sleep on a cold, hard floor. Like, it's everything put together, And also, I think one song is different, though, because it is just the same melody, but the fact that he has, like, a varied album, and, like, certain songs you hate, certain songs get to you, certain songs are loud, certain songs are more bass, and they're in random order, so you can't even create a pattern. They're all,
And that thing you can't find, I hate you so much. All he did was put Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, someone had to be on the ball and put so after that dum 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 in the chat, but no one was quite on there. No one's quite on there.
I don't mind the song so much if other people are singing it. There's something about Neil Diamond I just cannot stand.
So yeah, basically that's another thing we could do $1 million, but because you had an easy answer, but both my people had real problem answering that question. But I guess we're closer to Bieber than you are, and therefore it's more of a social problem.
We'd have to change it to like command of a starship, but like something's Trek related or something. Maybe.
Well, no, they'd be $1 million, but you can do for any Star Trek thing as well. $1 million, but we've got to have a rectal exam by the rock people in TOS.
Oh, Excalibans.
No, the Devil in the Dark. Devil in the Deep.
Oh, the Horda.
Yeah, you gotta have a rectal exam by them.
One of their babies?
No, just by them. Like, the rocks. Just gotta go inside your ass and probe and... That'd be horrible. See? $1 million butt.
That would kill you, so... yeah, no, thank you.
But you get $1 million, though. You lot that money. Ed, man.
Alan Murray. Oh,
no, I'll mute you. That's not... No, don't start. $1 million is not worth that. It's not worth it. I can mute you.
If you can see Alan Murray, come with me.
You can't hear him. I will not submit. No one got $1 million for that, so it's not fair.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that's just, drinking will be fun with that, because the city we get, so.
We'll do something. Maybe we'll do a few. We'll do like a section of Would You Rathers, and then we'll switch it up to that other thing. And the way I do it, super chat of $5, you take a sip of your just mixed drink. And for $10, you take a half shot, which is kind of a lot, actually. If we're doing a longer drunk live, I might have to change those numbers a bit. And $20 is a full shot. $50 should be like, you get to dictate kind of what I drink out of like 4 or 5 choices, maybe, like, something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where obviously you want to get us drunk sooner or later, so it escalates, and that's good. The more we have, the less sense we have. But yes, look forward to that on Saturday. And obviously it'll also be earlier in the day than our normal lives, because obviously we want to not be afterwards, etc.
1 or 2 in the afternoon kind of thing.
Yes. So yeah, fun times, fun times. I don't think we got our super chat though, but thank you everyone.
Oh, there it is. Leapod Swiftback, $5.
Ooh.
You get to command a starship, but you get to be locked up with me singing Ella Moraine badly, drunkenly, with Baby Shark on in the background. Oh dear God.
I feel like my very own tea would be very useful in that situation. I knew I was saving it for something right. I think.
But the discussion point, the pros and cons here is this. You're singing Ella Moraine badly, so it's not going to be the same verse for verse, verse on verse, which means it'll be varied. It'll be interesting. We get to make fun of you because you're drunk. So we'll be laughing and having fun. If we get sick of it, we can tune into Baby Shark for a second, then tune back into you. Like there's, you could tolerate that a little bit longer. Just saying.
Baby horta, baby horta, baby horta.
Oh, good God. Ozzy's got a good one. We built this Trekyards on bullshit.
We built this Trek on sleek and rad, sleek and rad, sleek and rad. And Doug Drex are laughing at us. Which is true.
All right. Well.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
So tune in for that. We're going to be doing a live tomorrow.
Thursday. Is today Wednesday?
Today's Tuesday, son.
Thursday. Or Wednesday.
Oh, I thought you said Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Mm-mm.
Okay. There you go. We're doing one on Thursday. This makes me smile.
Yes, I've got a thing tomorrow.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll do a live then.
You are good at
hanging
that
out with you guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but some days are better than others. Anyway.
Thanks, guys.
Come in and watch anyway, so. Oh. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Collins, and that is Geordi getting drunk with a Deduction. And yeah, good episode.
And this last 10 minutes of discussion has been a glimpse into our mind's eye. Hopefully you enjoyed our discussion
baby shark, baby shark,
baby shark.
Bye, guys. Say bye, Stu.